This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Mint
I gotta do my
Mobile.
intro. Anyway, I can do my intro now. Yes, I'm reacting on the PS5. Chill out. Don't do too much. I don't know how to use it on the computer. But, what is it? Deku versus Asta Death Battle. Hold up, I'm gonna do my predictions while they talking. But this is what we own. So, if they going from the manga,
Deku, My Hero Academia's super student straight out of UA High.
Asta, the anti-magical ass kicker from
they go
Black
by
Clover.
manga,
Though you
I'ma
may
go
be
Deku,
born
bro.
bereft of the same gifts as your peers,
he got more versatility in
stopping
jump.
you
He got
from
more
achieving your
personality in
dreams.
his head.
As long as
I
you're a
wanna say
fictional
Asta.
character in a
He
fantasy
be
world.
But it's like anti-magic
I mean,
would
as
make
long
it
as you've
hard.
got your friends by your
But
side,
Deku
you'll
don't got
pack
no
a hell of a
magic.
punch.
He just
He's
got straight
whiz
hands.
and boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
But
skills
mostly
to
hands.
find out who would win
But Asta,
a
like,
death
that
battle.
magic don't. He's strong.
Izuku Midoriya wanted
But,
only one thing from life. To
it's
be
really
a beacon
about
of hope, just like his idol,
who
the
muscle
number
gonna
one ranked
last for real.
superhero in Japan, All Might.
Too bad he was born a freak with no powers. You heard right. This
That's
is like
really
a
what it is,
reverse
bro.
X-Men thing where 80%
Whoever,
of the
like,
population
Deku
gets
run
red
out, like, oh my
superpowers,
God, I'm
or
tired.
quirks as
He
they're
go
called,
lose. He go
while
lose.
the
He go
remaining
lose.
fifth are stuck as basic
Asta
bitches,
get like,
or
okay,
as his
he
spiky-haired
go
bully
lose. It's whoever
Bakugo
get
called
top
him,
for real.
Deku.
That's a pun on the Japanese word dekunobu, meaning good for nothing.
Persevering
But
despite his basic
He 5'5"?
bitchiness,
I guess
Midoriya
he's-
got the chance to prove his
Now, that's still
quirkless
short.
heroic mettle against this giant
5'5"?
sludge monster, much to the surprise of one particular almighty onlooker.
His body secretly decaying from a horrific injury,
wasn't 5'5",
All Might
I was like
needed to
5'.
find the one who would inherit his all-powerful quirk.
And All Might didn't want just anybody. The
5'10",
hero world
hit
was
me up.
filled with glory seekers in it for fame and money. All
Ooh.
Might wanted someone
Oh,
whose
wait.
body moved on its own to save someone.
He saw exactly that in young Midoriya, and gave him one of the
Yeah.
most powerful quirks in the world, One for All.
That was the problem. Even after bulking up from lad to Chad, the recoil from even one
wasn't really
punch would
Chad.
shatter all the bones in his
Good.
arm. So he trained to be able to handle his gift at the superhero
Right now, I'm
school
like
of his
one episode
dreams,
behind.
UA
I'm like-
High.
And that's when he decided to own the name used
I'm
as
like
a
one episode
cudgel against
behind
him for
on
so
the anime
many
right now.
years. Turns out, Deku can also be an abbreviation
find
for
Shigaraki?
Dekiru, someone who can do anything.
Yeah, the most
Exactly
recent-
the
I don't know how to
opposite of
explain it.
Dekunobu. One
Well,
for
by the
all
time this
allows
come out,
Deku
you
to
don't know
release
what episode
absolutely
I'm on,
absurd
so-
amounts of strength from different parts of his body, with super moves named after U.S. cities
Bro,
and
he got
states.
first. He could
Deku
fly.
still can't access all of
See,
his
I'm
power
not caught up on
safely,
the
though.
manga like
Using
that. I kinda
100%
skipped
will
stuff.
quickly destroy his body,
And he got
which is
range
why
attack.
he learned to distribute
He
his
got
strength
range.
evenly
Ooh,
across
bro.
his body, a technique known as full
Oh,
cowling.
same, black
This
danger
lets him
sense.
increase
He
his
got
speed
Spidey
and durability
sense.
as well, making him more all-rounded and shifting focus to his
This
own
nigga's
interpretation
Spider-Man.
of One for All, inspired by his pal
This
Ida,
nigga's
shoot
Spider-Man.
style.
Where he
That could
pulls out a
float.
Glock and blows your brains out. Okay, not really, but in keeping with One for All's rabbit theme, he trades All Might's signature
Asta could
punches
take some
for
hits,
kicks.
though. Asta could
my
take
version's
some hits.
better. You ever seen Rabbit versus Gun? I have, and I know how it plays out.
Considering the much
Head
higher
ass.
muscle mass of a human's legs, shoot style allowed Deku to output even more power while giving his arms a break. A break from a break.
And despite being a classic melee build, Deku can fight at range by punching powerful gusts of air and even
Exactly.
precisely
Well, that
aim
ain't
them
gonna
with
do nothing for
specially
Asta,
designed gloves.
Deku has an encyclopedic knowledge of
Nah,
quirks
Asta
and is
could
always
block.
analyzing their
That's
strengths and weaknesses
Asta
mid-battle,
do got
even if
versatility
he
with
does
like
sound a
his
little
swords.
weird.
Despite only barely
That
getting
sword,
accepted
he
in the
got
first place,
sword that gives
Deku
both
quickly
shit.
became one of
He got
Class
the
1A's
katana.
most dependable fighters.
He had
Because,
3 or
yeah,
4.
somehow these students are constantly getting
remember.
drafted into literal wars
see the
against
female?
murderous supervillains.
Midoriya's successes in battle against ruthless criminals like
need to
Stain,
bring him
Muscular,
back.
and Overhaul
Wait, did he
came
die
much
or he
to
got
his
locked
old
up?
bully's chagrin. Where Bakugo was a child
remember.
prodigy, he now found himself overshadowed by his hard-working rival, and the
That
two
was a
would
good
use their
episode.
mutual respect
freaky.
and animosity to
They
motivate
fandom?
each other to
Horrible.
get stronger.
Classic
I need a
frenemies.
better
They're
bike,
only
bro. I don't like
solving
how
their
it's glaring off
problems
my
by
back.
pounding the living tar out of each other.
Luckily for him, Deku soon learned that living tar pounding wasn't the only thing he could do. Turns out, One for All did not originate with All Might. It had been passed down 8 times until it arrived at
8? I thought it
Deku,
was
with
6.
each inheritance also carrying the previous user's natural quirk as well.
Like Black Whip, which lets him manifest crazy long and strong energy tendrils to tie enemies up and swing around the city, or shoot one out of his mouth, just like our girl Fruppy.
And Danger Sense, which gives him a minor reactive precognition.
AKA, he's Spider-Man. Not even a reach. The mangaka is like the biggest Spidey fan ever.
He can also produce a smoke screen to mask his presence,
Spider-Man
float
just
in
said
midair,
it.
or store kinetic energy over time with Fajin.
Like that. By storing up enough, he can even match All Might's max power without any recoil to boot. Strong enough to change the weather and create city block-sized tornadoes with a single punch.
And he's even stronger with his newest quirk, Gear Shift, which allows him to increase the speed of an object anytime he touches it. In conjunction with the power of All for One, he can use this to warp reality itself. Deku can go toe-to-toe with arch-villains like Shigaraki, who's fast enough to react to and catch laser beams with his bare hands.
But nothing could prepare him for All Might's archenemy, the shadowy leader of the League of Villains, All for One.
All Might only ever showed his young pupil
the mask
kindness
if you don't
and
got a
support,
face. I never
but
understood
that couldn't change the absolutely crushing pressure
Where they got
Deku
that
felt
from?
at every moment.
Even classically trained dickhead Bakugo came to help his teammate out when he needed it. Like when they teamed up to share One for All and push an island-sized hole in the clouds 24 miles high.
Just goes to show that even One for All isn't a
24.
one-man
That
army.
movie was hard.
Deku's
That was my
true
favorite My Hero
strength
movie.
comes from his teamwork between himself and
I
his
ain't seen the
friends.
new one. I ain't
And
gonna lie.
with
I just
their
saw the
help,
movie.
Deku will surely become that beacon of hope he dreamt about as a
See, Deku got
child.
that versatility.
One hero
but
for
Asta
all
got that
man.
dog in him, though. Asta got the dog in him.
This episode is sponsored.
Magic! You know it, you love it, and in the world of Black Clover,
I ain't gonna
it
lie, I
doesn't
want Asta
come
to
from a
win.
box you bought at
I
a
like
tacky
Asta more
West
as a
Hollywood
character.
costume shop. Everyone's got it.
Mana is the source
I?
of all magic, a supernatural
the
energy
Twitter talk?
found in the air and in living
Where are you
beings.
getting these frames
Except living beings whose names are Asta.
Not only was the young Asta
I
an
like
orphan abandoned by his mother at a church as a baby, he was born with a mutation that
5'1",
prevents
he's
him from
17.
having any mana to speak of.
I know
Well,
he's
neither do
short.
I, and you don't
Damn.
hear me crying about it.
I know.
You do all
I
of
know
the time.
females
but
taller than
Asta
him.
had a dream. Despite his
Oh.
lack of magic, he and his
I'm gonna
best
go with
friend
Deku,
Ino
bro.
promised each other one of them would rise to the throne of the greatest military position in the land, the Wizard King. Wizard King? Really, guys?
Asta got that
Sometimes they
dog
call it
in him,
Magic
bro.
Emperor, but we
That's
all
the
know
one.
what they mean.
So he dedicated himself
He got
to
that
getting
dog.
swole as all hell.
See,
In a
look.
world of nerds, he would be its lone jock god, shoving every
I ain't paid
last
attention to the
wizard into a
sword. I ain't gonna
locker
lie, I did not
until
look.
they crowned him
It
king.
was 3.
But huge, frightening
I don't know if
vectorals
the
and a
final was
tiny, screaming goblin child weren't enough on its own. He needed something powerful
the
enough to
goblin
shut
child?
down
That's
his
horrible.
opponent's magic.
Let me get a little
He
closer.
needed the 5-leaf clover grimoire.
Essentially a book of spells, a grimoire will choose its user and float
if
beside
I
their
had
wielder
grimoire,
at
bro,
all times.
And Asta was lucky
have
enough to
been
receive the Uno
thanks.
reverse card of
God,
Grimoires.
but-
The 5-leaf clover can harness the power of
I have
anti-magic,
my
which
Grimoire
will
key.
literally nullify the effects of other magic spells. Almost like
I don't
wizard
know, bro.
kryptonite. Let the locker stuffing commence!
think there's so much
Ha-ha,
versatility
get
in it.
nerds!
It wasn't
I only
long
want
before
anti-magic
Asta was
shit.
accepted into one of the
Ooh,
9 squads of Clover
darkness,
Kingdom's Magic
the shadow
Knights,
shit
the
what
Black
Yami got.
Wolves,
Yeah.
filled with lazy drunkards, antisocial otakus,
That'd
and
be
literal
hard. I need that.
sociopaths.
My kind of people! Yep, mostly. But much like with Asta,
be
you
real
should
melee
judge
with
a
it, though,
grimoire by its cover. And soon they were all
Dimension
working
punch.
together and kicking ass like a family should.
Asta harnesses the power of anti-magic by summoning swords
we die.
imbued with it from the grimoire. Normally, these swords would quickly drain the mana from anyone foolish enough to wield
Mana?
them, but Asta does not have any mana,
That's the third-
turning
so he
his
got 4
greatest
swords. I
weakness
was right.
into a one-of-a-kind
That's the third sword.
strength.
He's got his
Mana?
classic Demon Slayer,
That was
an
mana.
enormous greatsword which cuts through spells with its
Mana.
edge and deflects them with its
It's
flat.
4, yeah.
Or the Demon Dweller, which can also absorb and copy
but in the
magic and
in the
toss it
manga
right
though,
back to
he got
sender.
some new
I
shit
think my
going on.
personal favorite
He got
is the
some new
more
shit going on in
complex
the manga,
Demon
though.
Destroyer, which severs the relationship
with
between a
his-
spell's cause
y'all
and
gotta read
effect,
it, bro. I don't wanna
countering the
spoil it.
effects of its magic. This could
But
result
anyway,
in
with
anything
his
from
hands, he-
healing a village that was inflicted with
I
poison
high
to
school, bro. Read the
preventing
manga, bro. He got some new
reincarnation.
junk
Yeah,
going on.
okay, some of these can
But
get a little
depending how
heady.
this
I
go-
personally prefer keeping it simple.
But since
like
they don't got the
using
new manga junk
anti-magic
going on in here,
telekinesis
I'ma
to
say
surf
Deku.
on your sword through the sky.
I'm gonna say Deku. I'm going with
It's
Deku.
worth noting that these swords are made specifically for countering magical attacks and sources of mana. The swords will act as though blunted when striking non-magical foes, more akin to giant clubs than actual blades. Not entirely inconsistent with real-life greatswords.
But none of that's even close to as cool as his deadliest sword, the Demon Slasher, a katana as black as the pits of hell and twice as badass.
This one actually does cut like a sword, but it's complicated. It lets Asta actually select what he does and does not want to cut, only affecting his target while leaving anything else unharmed.
Okay, at this point, isn't that just magic?
Magic with a loophole.
And he's studied the blade long enough to become a master swordsman to boot. Not in the real life sense, in the anime sense.
He can spin himself like a tornado to deflect magic spells, thrust
Oddly
forward
enough.
at top speed like a charging bolt,
But they don't got his
launch a
new shit
barrage
going
of
on what he doing
anti-magic
with.
projectiles, and even channel
So, I'm
anti-magic
going
into
with-
his
I'm going
swords
with
to
Deku, bro. He
vastly
got-
increase their size.
That is
Well, while he
hard.
may be no good with mana, he has learned to detect ki. Because, of course,
The life force existing in all things. Asta can detect hidden opponents and even predict their movements ahead of
bro.
time, as long as he's fast enough to react.
with such crazy powers, Asta was taking on threats
explain?
like
I
the
don't wanna
Eye
spoil
of the
it, bro.
Midnight Sun, the Devil Zagrid, and the Dark
Yeah, well,
Triad.
she was kinda
So many
fun.
nerds, never
Like, in the
enough
manga-
blockers.
yeah.
Too bad for Asta,
Anime,
though.
in the
He
anime,
had one
he
serious
did.
inner demon.
Literally,
Swamp?
housed within the five-leaf clover grimoire
Y'all
was
gonna think I'm
Liba,
weird,
a
bro.
demon exiled from hell for completely lacking magical powers, and who just
They
so
gotta
happened to
include
get
this part in the-
adopted
they
by
just brought in
Asta's
his
mother.
other form already.
Until he got possessed by a different demon and killed her. Vowing vengeance on all demonkind, Liba manifested
That boy
anti-magic
mama
from his
did.
hatred as a
That's-
way to kick their
Where the
asses.
daddy?
Which gave him and Asta a lot of common ground,
Where
despite
the
the whole,
daddy at?
mom murder thing.
In fact, the two became true brothers and formed an unstoppable duo. Liba can actually fully
Oh, I
merge
guess they
with
both
Asta
short.
for a massive power boost that lasts up to 5 minutes, at the cost of leaving Asta nearly powerless for the next half hour.
Come on, I want it. Yeah,
Powerless?
I'll take it if I get to
5
be strong
minutes?
enough to
That
slice
is a long
buildings
time in
to
a fight on
pieces,
some Dragon Ball Z.
obliterate huge chunks of earth,
That's
and
literally
tear
how
the
much time
most
we had
powerful
left above
demons
Earth.
apart.
5
Give me the
minutes. I
goddamn
guess they
book.
could
I'm
scrap.
the book boy, okay?
Even characters earlier in the series like
The
Patoli
music got
had
it
magic
insane. I
capable
like
of
that.
completely
fucked
vaporizing
me
the
up.
entire Clover Kingdom in a single
can't see it,
attack.
bro.
And demons that Asta has fought since then, like Dante and Lucifero, are leagues stronger.
Hell,
He ain't
screw
beat
all
Dante.
these demon forms and
Yes, he
anti-magic
almost
powers.
did.
Asta's body is so incredibly well trained, he dodged a beam of light while sleeping. As in, he was asleep, and the force of his sneeze pushed his head out of the way of a beam of light. Light speed sneezes, everyone.
He is
And despite
fast.
his headstrong and irritating personality,
AKA screaming at the top of
I
his
guess that's
lungs
just
as
factor.
often as possible.
Asta is an intelligent fighter who has leveraged his skill against far more experienced foes.
But he wouldn't be anywhere without the ragtag band of deviants he calls friends. With them at his side, there's no way he
I
won't
guess they
climb
both
the
got
ranks
that
to
little-
take the Wizard
well, they both
King's
took the
throne,
stuff type shit.
especially with Yuno pushing them both to get stronger.
Unlike other classic shonen rivalries, this one isn't tainted by antagonism. They truly want what's best for each other, even if they're competing for the same throne.
Yuno's
Yeah,
gonna need
they-
all
I
the
wouldn't
luck he
call them
can
rivals,
get,
bro. They
because
really
even
like-
if Asta never
it's a
gets
friendly
mana of his
rivalry,
own,
different
his
shit.
true magic is never giving up.
See that dog? Basically, what that is. His
This
true
episode
magic
is
is
sponsored
having
by
that dog.
BetterHelp.
Life can be overwhelming.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a
That's better. Ooh. Okay,
Shit that big? He's gotta be crazy strong.
He got the
I'm gonna
scarf.
have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
Ooh, he came on like that.
Gotta hit him really hard.
The thing with Death Battle though, I realized
Go run for his money.
whoever transforms first loses. So whoever TF first gonna lose. Oh yeah, he don't got no magic, so it just looks like a fat ass hammer.
Aren't swords supposed to be sharp?
I said the same thing. Yeah.
His speed isn't slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me!
See, Asta ain't gonna do all that thinking with first mode. He did the non-thing. He did his own shit before. I don't remember that. I ain't gonna doubt it
Now it's
though.
my turn!
Animated. like Venom tentacles.
Wait! Are you not using magic? What kind of magic emperor would I be if I
He
can't beat
can't
a
cut
guy like
it.
this?
He's still strong as hell though. Asta still. He could cut that though.
Detroit!
I don't know how to Grimward shit. Whoever tee up first for real loses, bro.
I don't know what Detroit
He lost.
is.
He lost.
But I've
Just
had
like that, he
enough
lost.
of it. I'm ending this quick!
He lost. That shit.
It's even all you've got! Because I'm never going down!
I can't think of no other words. I never seen Asta use the form before. He pump all his ass. Nah,
No use not
Asta
going all
lost
out
though.
anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard.
Now he got that dog in him. Now he got that dog in him. It's dog on dog. It's a dog fight.
1 billion!
Why he look like that? Alright. Who that's hard? That's hard. That's hard.
I did it.
Oh! I'm finna get proven wrong? I still don't get it though.
That. Detroit.
For our final round, as Asta takes on last year's reigning champion, Mr.
Fuck me up. I was wrong. I still don't get it though.
Poor Deku.
Was
He
Asta
tried
not
his
fazed by
best,
that punch?
But Asta just shoved him into that great big locker in the sky.
Damn.
Both Deku and Asta were fairly evenly matched melee fighters without any
I overestimated
specific abilities
Asta.
to give one an
Deku
easy edge
durability
over
first.
the other. Though, to be fair, the variety of quirks Deku inherited from past users of One For All did make him more
He ain't
versatile and
use 'em.
unpredictable.
Plus, quirks are biological
He ain't use the gear
mutations,
shift
not
shit
connected to
or
some
the
supernatural
float.
energy source like mana. So Asta's anti-magic powers were basically useless here.
And Deku was generally
Deku
a
and used a
smarter and
couple
more
of
tactical
tricks?
fighter. But against
Was
Asta's
Asta like that?
incredible might,
I
this
could admit
time
when I'm wrong.
Brawn beat brains.
Let's crunch some
I don't get
numbers.
how Asta,
Deku's
like,
greatest
he-
feat of
he felt
strength
too
was
good after
splitting
that
that
punch.
enormous cloud formation with Bakugo.
By measuring the size of the island and comparing it to the clouds
There's no
above,
way
we can
he
determine
got
they
slashes
dispersed over
over him.
63 trillion
After that
kilograms
punch,
of
he got
water.
That's the weight of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Nigga, you in that bitch sleep.
12,000 of them.
I don't get it.
And required an energy of
he
nearly
move the
80
sword, too?
teratons of TNT
I know you
per
do that.
punch.
Let's
on his
compare
sword
that
shit.
to Asta. But Toli's spell was going to be strong enough to vaporize a country the size of the Clover Kingdom.
We can use this map from the manga to estimate the size of Clover Kingdom to be about 500 kilometers in diameter, about half the length of Great Britain. Vaporizing a country of that size would require an energy of over 480 teratons
some
of
big
TNT,
TNT.
over 6 times greater than Deku's punch.
While Asta uses
love it.
anti-magic, it isn't an automatic counter. It needs to be comparable in strength to the spell it's combating. And Asta's gotten way stronger since.
Asta was also quicker. Sure,
Just be
scaling
strong
the
as he
Shigaraki
was.
would give Deku roughly
Bad way
light
to be
speed
deep.
reaction
All
time.
bubble
But
fight.
Asta could dodge light in his sleep,
I don't know about
and that's his
Momo
base
fight,
form,
but faster
even
and physical
before
strength,
transforming
right?
with Liba to get
Better way
way
to dig,
faster.
And since Deku and Asta's precognitive abilities more or less matched each other, it was only a matter of time before Asta simply overwhelmed him.
Especially since Deku has struggled in the past against faster opponents. Sure, Deku was smarter, but if he literally didn't have enough time to come up with a plan of attack before getting hammered, his brains were wasted.
Deku's tactical brilliance and harem-scarum tenacity definitely gave his opponent a
Okay.
run for his money.
Okay.
But Asta's raw power, blinding speed, and deadlier weaponry spelled the end for All Might's pupil.
Deku gave it
Okay.
his all, and I wish he had won. Hasta la vista.
I
The
can take
winner
that. I
is
can take
Asta.
that. I just feel like Asta should have took more damage from that punch.
Hey,
though.
if you want more Death
I know
Note
I know
ASAP,
he's
why
strong.
not grab a
But
membership?
he should
You'll
still
get
just
exclusive
like I could take that though. I was iffy. Y'all seen I was iffy. Damn. I guess that's an L on me. I gotta reflect on this, bro. I'm gonna talk to y'all boys later. Be easy.